Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Tiffany Justice, head of Moms for Liberty, goes into a sparring match with Joy Reid, and you can just guess who's going to win this one. But before we dive in, I want to give a quick shout out to our great sponsors over at Colonial Metals Group. They quite literally have the cure to buy inflation, and even though Trump won the election, you must protect your wealth as best you can, and that's exactly what Colonial Metals Group can do for you. Now, let's dive in.
There should be vibrant conversations about what's happening in our public schools and what kids have access to. Joy, however, maybe we could just put all the books with all the graphic sexual content, the dildos, the rape, the incest.
I'm sorry.
Let's do
I'm so sorry.
Let's do a back room. Let's put a curtain up in the library
First
like
of all,
they used
hold
to
on.
do
One moment.
in the video stores. Remember when we were little and you would go to the video store?
The books that Moms for
and they
Liberty.
put those
The
books,
books that Moms for Liberty.
with pornography.
I know that you. I've seen.
We could just do that in the public library.
I have seen tapes of what Moms for Liberty does, and you all go into school board meetings and you read graphic stuff.
Disingenuous conversation.
No, it's not.
America used to understand that there was something called age-appropriate content.
Right, and here's my question again. Again. Ruby Bridges Goes to School is on the list of books that Moms for Liberty has attempted to have removed.
Absolutely not.
It absolutely is. Let me ask about the people who are making the decision for their parents, because you have not answered yet why a liberal parent or an African-American parent can't
say We have parents who are Democrats who are members of our organization.
But you're still trying to make decisions for all the kids. Here are some of the parents that are filing, or some of your advocates. Bridget Ziegler, the Moms for Liberty co-founder, the wife of the recently ousted Florida Republican Party chairman, Christian Ziegler, who allegedly was involved in threesomes, same-sex threesomes. Mrs. Ziegler was removed from the school board at which she was a leader. You've had
she wasn't removed from the school board.
Okay, you have Lauren DePaula. She was making book ban requests in Alachua County, but then records show that she and her husband didn't live there. They'd sold their home in that county. Carrie Blair in Tennessee, who was arrested for property theft charges after allegedly stealing from Target, skip scanning in Target. Why should those three people get to make decisions about what other children should be able to read? Other parents' children should be able to read.
Do you know that I served as a school board member from 2016 to 2020?
Are you going to answer my question?
Yeah, I'm
because
going to.
Because we don't have an endless time.
Joy, I'm going to answer your question, but I need you to understand that when I was an elected representative, I would sit on that dais. And how dare I, sitting there as an elected representative, judge a parent when they would come to the podium to speak and advocate for their child? Because as we started this conversation, we'll end it. Every parent has a fundamental right to direct the upbringing of their children. And I would not stand in judgment, Joy, about a parent's education level, their sexual orientation, their race, their religion. That is not what America is about.
I'm going to answer. I'm going to ask my question, Ms. Justice. Mrs. Justice. That's
Thank you.
If a parent believes that their child should be able to read Ruby Bridges,
we believe that children should be able to read.
Then how can Moms for Liberty
hero.
insist that the school board take that book away and then say that a parent who wants the child to be able to read it must purchase it? That's essentially putting a tax on parents who want their children to read the book. Your kids get to have books for free that you agree with, but children who want to read, or parents who want their children to read books you don't like, have to purchase it. That doesn't sound fair.
Did you know that in the city that we're sitting in, only a quarter of children are reading on grade level?
That's a great point. That's a great point.
And so while we're having this conversation about books in libraries, two things should be happening.
That's a great point.
We should be talking about literacy rates and the fact that America's kids are not learning how to read, and we should be having vibrant conversations about what books should be in libraries.
Absolutely.
On one hand, Tiffany, great job of wrapping this up and trying to at least get some momentum there at the end, because ultimately, you're right that the illiteracy rates are a problem all over the country, and particularly in Democrat-held areas. But that's another topic for another day. What you really had was a much better opportunity smack dab in the middle of this video, right around the 130, 140 mark. And when Joy was trying to say, well, all these other people have done such terrible things and had all these weird minor infractions, they're not really as holy as they'd like to be, therefore they shouldn't be allowed in the process. That's when you need to stop her dead in her tracks and just ask this simple question. What does someone's bedroom practices in private? What does someone's accidental infractions at Target? What does someone not being up to date with their paperwork have to do with drag shows and pornographic material in children's libraries? Okay? That's all you had to say right there. You don't have to defend anyone. All you have to do is deflect from that, because it's not about the holier than thou. This isn't the old family values argument that we were having in the late 90s and early 2000s, which, by the way, conservatives and evangelicals lost because those conservative evangelicals kind of forgot what they were supposed to do and got caught in a whole lot of scandals. Hey y'all, I'm not exactly looking at retirement anytime soon, but my parents are. And friends of my parents are. And I'm sure either you or someone you know is looking at retirement and wondering, what do I do? How do I help prepare for this in this economy with this terrible president and with a vice president who basically coup d'etat him and is now looking to run for president herself? How do you protect against this? Well, simple. You go over to my friends at Colonial Metals Group. They quite literally have something called the Retirement Package Plan. This plan backs your wealth with gold and silver accounts. And furthermore, you will have direct access to these accounts. So you're not at the whims of Wall Street. You're not at the whims of inflation. You are in command of your own destiny. As a bonus, qualified applicants can receive up to $10,000 in free silver, plus a couple of other little goodies that they're going to package up for you, and you're going to be able to protect your wealth and your retirement. So go over to this link in the description below at colonialmetalsgroup.com or call this number 800-203-0422 and see how they can help you prepare for retirement today by backing your account with gold and silver. Don't delay your retirement, folks. Protect the money that you earned with Colonial Metals Group. They're here to help. And so this isn't the same ballpark. This is a new battlefield entirely. And the battlefield is simple. What should be allowed for our children to read in taxpayer-funded schools? And the answer is anything that is educational, anything that is whimsical, anything that is good for the imagination, and keeping it both secular and non-sexual. Right? That's the deal. If we're not allowed to talk about religion in our schools, then we should not be talking about sexual material in our schools. It's that simple. We're talking about schools here, not what someone does in their own bedroom. And so Joy Behar, who is a liberal through and through, and while she is a very disingenuous one at that, she's also a bit of a liar, because Moms for Liberty had nothing, I repeat, nothing to do with the scandal behind the, let's see, what was the name of the book? Let's see. Ruby Bridges Goes to School. Okay, they had nothing to do with Ruby Bridges Goes to School. Now, there was a parent affiliated with the group that did have a complaint when Disney made a movie and it got showed in class. Because when you're talking about a history of, basically the book Ruby Bridges Goes to School is the story of this young black girl in an all-white school. That's a very interesting topic and one that I think does deserve to be taught to kids. But with this caveat, with a simple, the teacher says, okay, what do you notice about this story? At the end of reading it, the teacher puts down the book and asks the class, what do you notice about the story? And some little kid's going to raise their hand and goes, well, she's the only black girl. And the answer is yes. At one time, black people were not allowed the same rights as white people. There was a time, and we've gotten better as a country, and now everyone is equal under the law, which should elicit ideas of, yay, go America, we keep progressing, this is awesome. But instead, a lot of our more left-leaning teachers are going to say that and ask, where do you see injustices today? That's not the question that needs to be addressed. And so I don't blame a mom for getting up in arms, but it had nothing to do with Moms for Liberty. So Tiffany Justice could have brought this up, but Joy Reid wasn't going to allow this. Ugh. You know, the biggest problem with the issues of banning certain books in schools is because there's so much noise on one side causing disinformation, and there's so much outrage on the other side that often misses the point in the plot. And the point in the plot should be this simple. No sexually explicit material, no religious material in elementary schools. All right? If you have a private school, do private school things. But this is public school. That's why Moms for Liberty gets up in arms about these sort of things. And I don't blame them for 1 second, because our children deserve to have an earnest look of history without being bombarded with ridiculous messages. They also don't deserve to have drag queen story hour in the middle of their lunch period. This should be a simple thing, but no, in order to protect progress, we've got to allow these sort of books saying that I have two mommies when a third grader is not going to understand that concept. It is that simple. And I wish people would grasp that, because if it was that simple, we should be winning it easily. So that's the messaging that we need to stay on, that we should keep our kids away from sexually explicit material in public schools, because that's just the decent thing to do. And it's also fair to keep religious material out of schools, because that's also a decent thing to do. Parents should have that right, not the education department. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.